Does this sound at all familiar? I eat healthy all day long. Green smoothie for breakfast, high fiber salads and stuff for lunch, even at supper. Well, I start pretty carefully, but then it tastes really good. And I'm not supposed to eat after dinner, so my brain says, you better tank up now. Wouldn't want to be hungry. Maybe you won't sleep if you're hungry. And then I finish it all and think, good, I'm full, but I'm thinking about how long the night can stretch out sometimes, especially in the winter when it's dark and cold outside. And I'm tired after dinner. But I'm still like kind of a little wired, a little fried. And then my sweet tooth starts to at me. What about a little chocolate? Dark chocolate has antioxidants, you know? Oh yeah. That was good. Like another little square won't hurt. So then I sit to watch something on YouTube, and well, the next thing I know, half the bar is gone. Okay, no more of that. This is what goes on in my brain, literally, this argument every single night, blah, 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 blah. So, welcome to episode 25 of the Midlife Reset Podcast. I'm Cheryl Gordon, a yoga therapist, and I am working hard to educate midlife women about losing weight and feeling stronger, and yeah, even sleeping better. So, back to my nighttime struggle. Like I was saying, like literally every night. So then I feel shame for caving in and eating too much chocolate. I wasn't hungry, right? That uncomfortable feeling niggles in the back of my mind while I'm trying to distract with more YouTube or maybe some reading. And then more shame starts piling in because now I'm on a shame spiral. More the merrier, right? And I think, oh, but this is what my brain's doing. You should sign up for an exercise class after supper. You know, you'll never fit into your clothes if you don't tackle this weight around the middle. And for me, I make a living preaching healthy lifestyle. What kind of advertisement would it be if I look dumpy? My brain's in full shame spiral now, right? Meanwhile, my habit brain, which is the part of my brain that organizes all like the things in the background that I don't have to think of, well, it's becoming a little concerned. All this shame coming to the party starts to make me feel feelings of isolation, embarrassment, being left out, like I'm broken and I don't measure up. That's what shame brings, right? Those kind of feelings. Well, way, way, way back there in the caveman days, being left out or ostracized from the tribe was fatal. Now, my habit brain still holds to that ancient notion. So these feelings of isolation and shame are being read as a survival threat. Literally, part of my brain is screaming at me at night, we could all die, we could all die. Well, yeah, that's a lot to deal with, right? And I'm already tired. I've already put in 12 hours probably. So, habit brain has a plan for this because your habit brain is there to help you survive. It's there to take care of you, girlfriend. It has a plan for any potential survival threat, everything you've ever experienced, and probably your ancestors too. It's been gathering programming for millennia just to help you in this moment when you have a shame spiral. Unfortunately, my habit brain does not have room or any desire to embrace my goals, dreams, or higher human potential. It is only interested in that basic survival. It doesn't know that I've resolved to kick nighttime snacking or that I desperately want to fit into all my beautiful clothes. The habit brain will steadily amp up the panic signals that we should do whatever it takes to calm the feelings of isolation, shame, and loneliness. And historically, my habit brain has lots of lived experience around this. You know what has worked really well when we feel shame, loneliness, worry? Eating a snack. Snacks. When we eat something rich in carbohydrates like chocolate or popcorn or Oreos, the brain gets this strong dopamine hit. And dopamine's a pleasure hormone. And we are wired, my friend, super hardwired to go after the dopamine hit. Pleasurable food, brain happy, shame spiral temporarily halted. Ah, all is well, right? Except the dopamine hit was only a band-aid for the problem. Logically, I've just added more fuel to the shame fire. Once the dopamine hit passes in a few minutes, I think, ah, crap, I just ate that whole bag of Oreos. And the whole circle of hell starts again. Now, hopefully, my story helps you understand how absolutely normal you are. This is a trap so many of us fall into. You are not broken. I am not shameworthy. It is just an unmindful pattern that we can totally hack into once you know how. Now, there are several reasons why this nighttime snacking cycle gets away from us. And I'd like to share three of them today, along with a coping strategy for each. Trust me, these are all tested in my own house every night. So I'm speaking from experience here. In the She Mindfulness program, which is an online program I have that really helps you take a deeper dive into this kind of stuff. It's why the She Mindfulness program can really help you with that midlife weight gain in a very kindly and intelligent way. And know that within the She Mindfulness program, we have a private community. It's kind of like a social media thing, but only for people who are in the She program. You can ask questions specific to your situation, or even share the strategies that you learn going through the program, so it will help others like us. So, getting back to the three types of nighttime snacking, the three reasons why nighttime snacking gets away from us, and what to do about it. Number one, days are busy. Even if you're retired, I bet you your days are pretty busy. Sometimes it's hard to fit in, proper meals. You're on the road or whatever. I often don't notice my hunger or cravings because my brain is so entertained by all that's happening during the day. Also, I've been guilty of taking advantage of that distraction and not eating, skipping meals. I could bank my calories for later. It feels so virtuous to say, oh, I forgot to eat today. Or I only had an apple for lunch, right? Feels virtuous. Meanwhile, that habit brain that we've been talking about is getting more and more concerned as the day goes on. Depriving ourselves and ignoring hunger cues can create a panic response in your system. Even mild hunger can trigger stress hormones. You might not notice the buildup of anxiety because you're so stimulated by the activities around you. But when those activities start to wind down and there's not as much distraction, all that anxiety that's been building all day goes babushka, and it's there waiting for you. Here's a signal that this might be happening to you. Do you find yourself nibbling while you're cooking dinner? Or do you have to just like have a snack so you have the energy to cook dinner? Do hunger pangs attack you as you drive home to make supper and you just get really hangry? Routinely ignoring hunger cues sensitizes our alarm system. So it's super hard to control eating to enough. There is this brilliant communication loop built into our system, but if we're not attuned, the system loses its calibration. In other words, the habit brain becomes even more of a drama queen and sends these big panic messages as soon as it can get our attention. So here's the solution: eat when you're hungry and stop eating when you've had enough. How elegant. I do have a free guide to mindful eating where I talk about listening to your hunger cues and knowing when you're enough, because for me, it's still a big learning curve. I'm still working on that calibration process because for years I starved myself or binged or did all kinds of crazy things. I know it sounds so simple, but for me, it's really an ongoing practice. So I'll put the link to the free mindful eating guide in the show notes. This is a long-term process of learning to deeply listen to your body again. So You don't have to give up chocolate or popcorn or Oreos, I promise. Just be more mindful. So that's the type of snacking problem number one. Number two, the next strategy is helping to address the hormones that cause that unnecessary nighttime snacking. Because especially in midlife, hormones really do influence a lot of our decisions and our behaviors. Understanding that is so helpful. So I want to talk about cortisol. It's a normal hormone that is commonly released into the system to help us feel energized and prepped for activity. It starts to rise about 4 a.m., get you ready to get up and out of bed, and then it steadily grows throughout the day usually. And there's nothing wrong with having cortisol in your system. It's absolutely normal and quite necessary. But here's the catch. We sit down at dinner, we're probably hungry, we've probably been busy all day, our brains are getting very tired. Did you know that your brain has to make tens of thousands of decisions every day, and each one is a huge energy gobbler? It's something called brain fatigue or decision fatigue as the day goes on. So that's a state we're in when we sit down to dinner. Then relaxation comes into the system when we finally get some food. Because remember, your habit brain doesn't like to not eat, to be hungry. The habit brain thinks we're all going to die if we're hungry. So it's been getting kind of nervous all day, and cortisol's been building up all day. And then we sit down and we have some food, and that cortisol is like a roller coaster downhill. Whoosh, we crash. Our system so badly needed that little reprieve, that relaxation. It really doesn't want it to end. Who would want that to end? It feels good. So, especially if after dinner there's a whole bunch of yucky stuff you have to do, like laundry, or you have that, as I was mentioning earlier, that great big huge cavity of time after dinner, especially in the winter when it's dark and cold, and you're like, what am I going to do? And maybe loneliness comes in. Like if my habit brain knows it's going to be uncomfortable to face that, why would I stop eating now? This is fun now. The habit brain knows how to keep the party going. So we take a little more chicken, you know, take a little more pasta. It's so good tonight. And did I miss lunch? Well, having seconds, I can afford the calories, right? See how the brain gets you through all this? But you know what? The body really doesn't need those calories. And they will likely be stored as fat. You know, the body thinks there could be a famine any minute. There was for most of human history. The bottom line, you torpedo your weight loss goals before you've ever really settled in for the evening. Does this at all resonate? This was comes next for me. I blew through portion control at supper. I just couldn't help it. I'll start over tomorrow. But for tonight, well, I might as well. It's already blown. I might as well have the chips, might as well have the chocolate. And then the shame spiral. See overeating strategy number one. So there is a wonderful solution to number two. In the She Mindfulness program I mentioned before, we talk a lot more about mindful rest. But this is how rest breaks throughout the day can help relate to weight loss. Most people think they need to exercise more to lose weight. So this whole thought can be really counterintuitive, but stick with me. If you don't want to try and wrestle with that big tank in cortisol tonight at supper, wouldn't it make sense to bring cortisol down a bit during the day to kind of alleviate the anxiety a bit during the day? So you're not like left with this great big huge anxiety cloud that just slams you at supper time. So this is scientifically possible by taking 5 to 20-minute midday resets for the nervous system. Again, in the She program, we talk more about this. We do 4 or 5 modules on it, 4 or 5 sessions on it. But what does this look like? It could be 5 minutes in a restorative yoga pose. I love legs up the couch. You can take a quick nap. Set your phone for 20 minutes. You will not disturb your nighttime rest. We go into all the science around that in the She program. But you will not wreck your sleep if you have a 20-minute or less nap. Set the timer on your phone so you don't overdo it. I love a guided meditation. Yoga Nidra midday is great. There are so many options that will help reduce the cortisol production temporarily and reset your nervous system so that you're not slammered at night. It's too hard to fight back. You're tired, right? Now there's a second part to this solution, and I think it's really an important part. Plan for a pleasurable activity after dinner that will mimic the dopamine hit you would normally get from those Oreos. So, do you love to read? Curl up on the couch, get a real juicy novel, and go at it for half an hour. No guilt allowed. Maybe what's worked well for me, because I know that loneliness stuff is a real risk for me. Um, all the kids are gone. I don't have any babies to cuddle anymore. I have my puppy. God love her. So she's part of this second part of the solution. A cuddle with a loved one or a pet and not feeling guilty for just, like laying out on the couch and cuddling or having a quick time to just specifically brush your pet or ask for a hug or another thing that works really well for me is a relaxing evening stroll, not a power walk. I'm not trying to burn calories, but I walk around the block with my dog. My dog visits or fights with all the other dogs in the neighborhood. I talk to my neighbors, so I have that sense of connection. See how I'm working on anti-lonely here? So anything that will help you deal with what specifically will give you the dopamine hit. A sense of connection works for me. Don't do laundry. Don't do an high energy boxer fit class. And I mean, you can do that if you really love that kind of stuff, but don't do it with the thought you're going to lose weight, right? Or that you're going to deprive yourself of being able to get to the chocolate. That's just punishment. Your habit brain knows that you're being mean and it's going to get you back. I love seeing the amazing ideas our community in the She Mindfulness program shares about getting that evening sense of connection and calm. So having something nice to look forward to. Finally, number 3, are you a rebel? You might be a wonderful, giving person all day, never saying no. You're always patient. And then the night comes and it's quiet, no one's around, and it's your time finally, and you're going to have a little fun, damn it. And often fun for me would translate into having a treat, junk food. Well, I had a rough day, right? I have a friend, give you an example. I have a friend. She still writes handwritten thank you cards. She has impeccable manners. She never misses a birthday and all that kind of stuff. Her house is nauseatingly immaculate. She's super successful at her career, but simmering underneath, nobody normally sees this. She's pissed. People forget her birthday. People don't send her thank you cards. They don't finish the files properly at work. Why do they get away with all that sloppiness and let her clean up the mess all the time? The simmering resentment is damned uncomfortable to live with. The voices in the head can get really nasty. And of course, we don't want to be nasty. We're nice women. But if I just dip into that leftover cake, it makes all those nasty voices go away for a few minutes. And that's what I call rebel eating. I deserve a treat because I had one hell of a day. I just don't know where else to turn for comfort. Girlfriend, you got this. Through mindfulness, you can learn to be your own best friend, to have your own back. When I first looked at rebel eating, I was stumped as to how to nurture myself without food, a glass of sparkling wine, or retail therapy. What else was there in life? It took some difficult soul searching to uncover the ways in which I was being unkind to myself so that I wouldn't feel so well used at the end of the day. The solution here, the solution to rebel eating is not, ironclad willpower. It's to look at setting boundaries from a place of love. This is a lot harder than the word suggests. We all want to be strong, kick-ass women who stick up for ourselves. But in reality, girlfriend, I think we're all pushovers. Can you babysit grandma? Oh, can you bring a three-layer cake to the potluck? Oh, you don't mind taking over Jane's files since you know she's having cancer treatment, right? We will do almost anything to make people we care about happy, right? We will. We're really loving, giving women. But you know what that's really called? People pleasing. And it's exhausting, ultimately unsuccessful. We can't make anyone else happy. They might use us to make their lives easier, but we can never make anyone else happy. This is a whole big topic, but here for our solution to rebel eating, I want you just to think about reviewing your relationships and obligations. What expectations do you have for yourself that are ridiculously high? Where can you start setting clear limits on your own choices so you don't feel like rebelling with food is your only comfort? In the She Mindfulness program, I advocate strongly for making daily plans. I sit down every morning, look at what appointments I have, where I have to drive, or what I want to get done. I look what I'm going to eat in detail, including snacks, and I write it all down. It doesn't take very long once you get in the habit of it. This supports me throughout the day because my 8 a.m. brain or my 7 a.m. brain is rested and fresh. My goals and my dreams are right there in my brain. And I know I know I have solutions to everything that's going to happen today. I can plan it all out, make sure I have snacks for when I'm going to be on the road, or I can get a crock pot going or whatever, defrost something. And the rest of the day flows so much easier. I can spot where the scheduling is overlapping, where I have to ask for help. I can make sure I've got all the materials that I need for teaching my classes, worksheets. So that'll get you started. The other thing that I really want to strongly recommend is a life coach. I found life coaching to be really, really helpful in learning more about boundaries and discovering the tools that I need in order to have those conversations with people that I love and care about if I can't make the three-layer cake or handle the file or babysit. How do you say no? So a life coach has been really, really helpful through that. Okay, a lot of stuff we covered today. Let's review. We've looked at the 3 ways that nighttime snacking gets the better of us. And even if you aren't actually looking to lose weight, snacking is often less than healthy. Not many of us grab the veggie sticks for movie night, right? So if you're looking just to be stronger and healthier, I think these things are interesting to look at. So we looked at number 1, that skipping meals and depriving yourself throughout the day aggravates your stress response, leaving you vulnerable to overeating later in the day. So the solution to that is to eat when you are truly hungry and stop when you've had enough. Number 2, we looked at that relaxation that floods the system when you finally sit down to dinner. We talked about how addictive that is hormonally, and it's hard to control portions when you just have that feeling of wellness. So all of a sudden, it just feels good after a day of running around and maybe not feeling good. There's a solution that we've reviewed here is to watch your energy expenditure during the day. Rest breaks can help even out the hormones, insulating you from that roller coaster ride at night when you're tired and vulnerable. And the third nighttime eating that we looked at was the rebel eating. People pleasing is hardwired into us women, but setting healthy boundaries can help prevent that rebel eating at night. You are definitely worth some time and energy to investigate where you can put your limits in place. No one likes feeling taken for granted, and you shouldn't. I hope you will click on the link in the show notes to access that free mindful eating guide. It will get you started. It gives more detail about how to feel your hunger cues. We have a hunger scale that you can use as a kind of a visual. And there's some great tips on planning and some other effective practices to support mindful eating. And if you would like a more in-depth study of mindfulness as how it applies to losing weight, And of course, after you lose the weight, you feel stronger, you get more rest. I would really encourage you to look into the She Mindfulness Program. It's the protocol that I used to lose 25 pounds of menopausal weight. And the same practices, I'm kind of repurposing them, and they're supporting me this year as I work to build my six-figure online business. Woot woot! I honestly would never have guessed a couple years ago that I'd be hosting a podcast and announcing my income goals in public. But so much has changed due to this mindfulness practice. I honestly have so much energy now. I'm optimistic. I'm excited for the future. I mean, it's not all rainbows and unicorns, as listeners to this podcast well know, but I feel like I can handle the challenges that aging inevitably brings. I'm not so scared now. I don't feel like, show's over. I'm not at the mercy of how other people think of me. And it's very empowering, my friend. And that's what I would love for you. So, thank you so much for joining me today. Please subscribe to this podcast, leave a comment. I'd love to know what you're curious to learn more about or how this landed with you. Have a great day, and we'll talk next week. Have you heard? Get your questions about midlife metabolism answered live at a special Zoom event September 18th. Join Charlene Stiles, holistic nutritionist, and myself for an exclusive Q&A. Click on the link in the show notes or go to CherylGordonYT.com to register right now, because I know I would forget. So don't forget. I can't wait to dive in together.